My Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you are here, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask your pardon for my sins and grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. I read the story of a certain boy who lived an exemplary life of close friendship with you, Jesus, and died in a holy way from a book titled I've Never Been Happier. There's also a documentary on it, one can find it on YouTube. It's about Pedro Ballester. Well, among the virtues that exhibited was this sensitivity to the needs of the others, whether older than him or of the same age or even younger than him. He took care of his younger brothers, even correcting them when necessary, keeping an eye on them. However, there's this aspect of him that comes out quite human, that when at home he would explain to his younger brothers that God has chosen him as the eldest and he must live up to that responsibility. So he claimed his birthright, and that one of the prerogatives of that birthright is to be in charge of the remote control. So he demanded obedience and docility from his younger ones. When they watched television, he would proclaim himself the king of the remote. He also chose the front seat in the car or the best bed in the grandparents' summer house, always claiming his birthright. Well, he was joking about this, kind of enjoying himself, until he was about 11 years old, and he stopped dominating over his younger ones and began to respect more their preferences and allow them to choose. It was as if Jesus, he began listening to you. We too want to listen to you. For instance, in today's gospel, but know this, that if the householder had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would have been awake and would not have left his house to be broken into. He also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an unexpected hour. Peter said, Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? And the Lord said, Who then is the faithful and wise steward, whom his master will set over his household to give them their portion of food at their proper time? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if that servant says to himself, My master is delayed in coming, and begins to beat the men servants and the maidservants and to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him and at an hour he does not know, and will punish him and put him with the unfaithful. And that servant who knew his master's will but did not make ready or act according to his will shall receive a severe beating. But he who did not know and did what deserved a beating shall receive a light beating. Everyone to whom much is given, of him will much be required, and of him to whom men commit much, they will demand the more. I like to focus on the verses that refer to the blessing of that servant. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he'll set him over all his possessions. I think there's a contrast I find here between today's gospel and yesterday's gospel. It's following the same readings from Luke chapter 12. Yesterday, Jesus, you were telling us that those servants will be blessed, whom the master finds awake when he comes. Truly I say to you, he'll gird himself and have them sit at table, and he'll come and serve them. Today, in contrast, you say, Blessed is that servant, whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he'll set him over all his possessions. Isn't that curious? The master doesn't retire the servant, nor set the table and serve him like the ones of yesterday. Rather, you say that the master adds to the servant's responsibility. Is it desirable, having worked so long awaiting your return to take over, then I can finally face my own things, comfort, rest, The master promotes me to a higher role of responsibility. I want to know Jesus who we are addressing today. We realize it's Peter who had asked that question. Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? St. Theophilus will say that this suits the apostles and teachers. Also, in the things of God, there is need for faithfulness and wisdom. For I have known many servants of God and faithful men who, because they were unable to manage ecclesiastical affairs, have destroyed not only possessions but souls. I think it's a call today to pray for the ongoing Synod of Bishops to conclude come Sunday, 27th of October. But in a way, we understand that Jesus, you're addressing each of us listening. You must know the responsibility role each of us here has received as an older sibling or a prefect in the school or just an older student, a parent, a tutor to young persons, a catechist, a supervisor, a more experienced worker in the workplace. Will I count myself blessed? How? You say, by so doing. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. By this I understand Jesus. He exhorts me and everyone listening today to seek to be active, doing what is our duty. And so imitate God, who is a pure act, source of all activity. You once said, Jesus, in the Gospels, my Father is working still, and I am working. The Son can do nothing of his own accord, but only what he sees the Father doing. For whatever he does, that the Son does likewise. For the Father loves the Son and shows him all that he himself is doing. Or in another place you say, we must work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Am I working? Am I doing what the master wants me to do? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. On the contrary, we can say, blameworthy is the servant whose master, when he comes, will find undoing. Comfort seeking, laziness, idleness, lust, daydreaming, negligence, apathy, or even exploiting or abusing the ones under my care. Jesus can help you and me to reject abuses of all sorts prevalent at homes from older family members or abuse of domestic employees, abuses in school in the form of bullying by older students or staff, exploitations of subordinates at workplace. How common it has become to hear about toxic environment in the workplace. Jesus, you clearly condemn abusive behaviors when you say, if that servant says to himself, my master is delayed in coming, and begins to beat the men servants and the maid servants and to eat and drink and get drunk, the master of that servant will come on a day when he does not expect him and at an hour he does not know, and will punish him and put him with the unfaithful. Whereas blessed is that servant whom his master when he comes will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. We can add, in contrast, woe to that servant set over people that begins to beat the men servants and the maid servants, and to eat and drink and get drunk, or hooked to the phone, entertainment shows. Jesus might have added. Holy persons understood clearly that call to work continuously. For example, to be Saint Carlo Acutis was someone who used time well. Carlo used to say that time cannot be wasted on the things that God does not want. Every minute that passes is 1 minute less for our personal sanctification. Therefore, let us maximize our time for eternity. When they asked the mom how Carlo used the cell phone, she answered, when Carlo was alive, we didn't have smartphones, but we did have Messenger on flip phones. He used to turn Messenger off. The reality is that he was extremely busy with all his activities, his exhibits, his work as a catechist. He did not have time to waste. He used his cell phone sparingly. Well, Jesus, let's face it, you want each of us to keep doing, neither passive, not at all exploitative of others' inferior position. Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. It's just like saying that the reward for work is more work. all done for you, for your glory. And in heaven, we can understand that the saints continue walking. Work is good for us. Today, you and I can make up our minds once and for all to be like these blessed servants that Jesus speaks about, whose master, when he comes, will find so doing. Thus, it becomes my and your expression of love for the true master, Jesus. Mary, in presenting yourself as the maidservant of the Lord and Master, please obtain this grace for us all today to be doing, not undoing Jesus' work. I thank you, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations which you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask your help to put them into effect. My Immaculate Mother, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.